Good morning, student. Today's topic of discussion is the oculomotor nerve. You all know we have 12 pairs of cranial nerve, and this nerve are attached to the brain. And the nerves are the first cranial nerve, this is the olfactory, second optic, third oculomotor, four trochlear, five trigeminal nerve, and the sixth cranial nerve, this is abducent, seventh cranial nerve, facial nerve, 8 the vestibulocochlear nerve, 9 glossopharyngeal nerve, 10 vagus, 11 accessory, spinal accessory or cranial accessory, 12 hypoglossal. All these cranial nerves exit the cranial cavity through foramen or fissure, and all originate from the brain, contain sensory, motor or the both component. Then come to the third cranial nerve. The third cranial nerve, this is the oculomotor nerve, and the functional component of the third cranial nerve. The third cranial nerve, it is the largest of the ocular motor nerve. It contains around 15,000 axons, including motor fibers and parasympathetic motor fibers. It is entirely motor in function, supplied levator palpebrae superioris and all extraocular muscle except lateral rectus and the superior oblique. The superior oblique is supplied by the fourth cranial nerve, and the lateral rectus is supplied by the sixth cranial nerve. Also supplies the intraocular muscle, namely sphincter pupillae and the ciliary muscle, which controls the amount of light which enters through the pupil of the eyeball. Then come to the functional component of this oculomotor nerve. The somatic efferent component. The somatic efferent component is concerned with the movement of the eyeball. Motor supply to muscles derived from head myotomes, levator palpebrae superioris, superior rectus, medial rectus, inferior rectus, and the inferior oblique muscle. All these muscles, they have the somatic efferent component of this oculomotor nerve. And the general visceral efferent. The general visceral efferent component of the nerve is meant for accommodation and contraction of the pupil. Motor supply to the ciliaris and the sphincter pupillae muscle. This motor supply comes from this general visceral efferent fiber and the general somatic efferent fiber. General somatic efferent component of the nerve is associated with proprioceptive impulses from the extraocular muscle supplied by the somatic efferent component of the nerve. Okay. Then come to this point. The nucleus of the third cranial nerve is located in the inferior periequidactal gray matter of the mesencephalon. It is a complex of both paired and the midline motor cell. These cells are found from the posterior commissure or superiorly to the pontomesencephalic junction caudally in the dorsal midbrain. And the nucleus you may found in the periequidactal gray matter, like this region. This is the aqueduct and this is the periequidactal gray region. This is the part of this oculomotor nucleus. This is the Edinger-Westphal nucleus, and this is the oculomotor nucleus, or the main part of this oculomotor nucleus. This is found in the periequidactal part. Okay. Classically, the nucleus, the nuclear complex, the origin of this oculomotor nerve has been described with four paired subnuclei supplying innervation to the inferior medial and the superior rectus muscle and to the inferior oblique muscle. There is a single caudal dorsal midline nucleus providing innervation to the levator muscle. Innervation of the extraocular muscle from the paired nuclei is ipsilateral for the inferior and the medial rectus muscle and the inferior oblique muscle. However, innervation of the superior rectus is contralateral The motor fiber to the superior rectus decussate within the third nerve nucleus and join the fascicles of the contralateral oculomotor nerve. Only the supply of the superior rectus, it is supplied by the two sides of this oculomotor nerve. Okay, this is the aqueduct and this is the nucleus of this oculomotor, this part. It contains oculomotor nucleus and the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. So, in short, the functional component of the oculomotor nerve, it has somatic motor and the parasympathetic motor. Okay, the somatic motor supply the muscles of this extraocular part, and the parasympathetic component, it supply the ciliary muscles and the sphincter papillae by the connection with the ciliary ganglion. Then come to this point. Oculomotor nerve nuclei. Oculomotor nerve nuclei include two motor nuclei and the main motor nucleus site ventral part of the central gray matter surrounding the cerebral aqueduct of midbrain at the level of superior colliculus close to the medial plane. Supply, the main motor nucleus supply all extrinsic muscle of the eye except superior oblique and lateral rectus. The levator papillae superioris muscle of both sides are supplied by a single central group of cell, central caudal nucleus. The superior rectus muscle is supplied by contralateral oculomotor nucleus. The remaining muscles are innervated by ipsilateral oculomotor nucleus. It is combined of subnuclear supply individual extraocular muscle as follows. So, then come to the name of this part of the nucleus or subnuclei and their supplying part. Okay. Then come to the dorsolateral nucleus. It supply the ipsilateral inferior rectus. Intermedial nucleus, it's also supply the ipsilateral inferior oblique. Ventromedial nucleus, ipsilateral medial rectus, and the paramedial or scattered nucleus, it supply the contralateral superior rectus. And caudal central nucleus, it is bilateral levator palpebrae superioris. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this part dorsolateral nucleus, intermediate nucleus, this ventromedial nucleus, paramedial nucleus, caudal central nucleus, they are the subnuclei of the main nuclear part of this oculomotor. Okay. Then come to the main and these are the foundation of this, subnuclei. This EW means the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. This is the nucleus supply this inferior rectus, inferior oblique, medial rectus. These are the foundation of this nucleus. Okay. This CCN means the caudal central nucleus. You all know that from this caudal central nucleus, this fiber goes to this levator palpebrae superioris. Okay. Along with this main part, there is one extra part. This is the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. The Edinger-Westphal nucleus, it is one of the most important thing which provide the parasympathetic fiber via the ciliary ganglion to the ciliary muscles and the sphincter papillae. It provides supply to the ciliary ganglion, and from the ciliary ganglion nerve fiber goes to the ciliary muscles. Okay, and the general sensory component, it also supply the muscles of this eyeball. Then come to the connection. One is the cerebral cortex, the motor cortex of both sides through corticonuclear tract, and the visual cortex through the superior colliculus and the tactobulbar tract. The frontal eye field to the nuclei of the 4th, 6th and 8th cranial nerves through the medial longitudinal bundle, and the pretractor nucleus of both sides for light reflex, vertical and torsional gaze centers through the medial longitudinal bundle, cerebellum through the vestibular nuclei. So the cerebellum, the frontal eye field, visual cortex, motor cortex, both side for the light reflex, all these things are interconnected with this nucleus of this oculomotor nerve. After taking origin from the deep part, the oculomotor fibers runs forward from nuclear complex passing through MLF, tegmentum, red nucleus, and medial part of substantia nigra, forming series of curves with lateral convexity. They emerge from sulcus oculomotorius on the medial side of the cerebral peduncle. Medial side of the cerebral peduncle. Okay, if you go to this picture, medial side of the cerebral peduncle. This is the oculomotor nerve. This is the cerebral peduncle. So it coming out through the medial side of this. This is the optic chiasma and this is the cerebral peduncle. This is coming out from this medial side of the cerebral peduncle. Okay. Then come to the course of this oculomotor nerve, and it has a fascicular course, basilar course, intracavernous course, and the intraorbital part. Okay. Then come to the fascicular part. The fascicular part, the fasciculus consists of efferent fiber which pass from the third nerve nucleus through the red nucleus and the medial aspect of the cerebral peduncle. They then emerge from the midbrain and pass into the interpeduncular space, the fascicular part. This part is the fascicular part. After taking origin, it goes to the interpeduncular part. Okay, this is a part of the oculomotor nerve, and after emerging from the brain surface, it goes through the red nucleus, substantia nigra, and the crus cerebri. Then come to the basilar part. Start as a series of 15 to 20 rootlets in the interpeduncular fossa. This coalesce to form a large medial and a small lateral root, which unite to form a flattened nerve which gets twisted, bringing the inferior fibers superiorly and the superior fibers inferiorly, and thus the nerve become a rounded cord. The nerve then passes between the posterior cerebral artery and the superior cerebellar artery and run forward in the interpeduncular cistern, running lateral to and parallel with the posterior community artery to reach the cavernous sinus. It contains, the basilar part contains 15 to 20 rootlet. And at this part, the nerve, after coming out the brain, the nerve takes a sheath of the pyometer. Here it passes between the posterior cerebral and the superior cerebral artery and runs forward in the cisterna interpeduncularis, lying on the lateral side of the posterior communicating artery. Then they come to the intracavernous part. After this part of the cisterna interpeduncularis, it enters into the cavernous sinus. It pierces the arachnoid matter, lies in the interval between the free and attached border of the tentorium cerebelli, and finally enters the cavernous sinus by piercing the dura mater on the lateral side of the posterior clinoid process of the sphenoid. It then descends to the lateral wall of the sinus, where it lies above the trochlear nerve. In the anterior part of the cavernous sinus, the nerve divides into superior and the inferior division, which enter the orbit through the medial part of the superior orbital fissure within the annulus of Gene. In the fissure, the nasociliary nerve lies in between the two divisions, while the abducens nerve lies inferolateral to them. If we take this part, this oculomotor nerve, it lies on the lateral wall and most superior of this nerve. This is the oculomotor nerve. This is the cavernous sinus. This is the trochlear nerve, which lies below this oculomotor nerve. This is the ophthalmic division. This is the arachnoid mater, and this is the maxillary nerve, and this is the internal carotid artery. This is the intracavernous part. Okay. Then the nerve, which after passing through the intercavernous part, it is coming out through this superior orbital fissure. and it has one superior division and one inferior division. In between the two division there is abduction nerve. Okay, and the nasociliary nerve, this is the nasociliary nerve. It lies close to the inferior division of the oculomotor nerve. And abduction nerve, it lies the inferolateral to the dim. Nasal nerve lies between the two division, while the abduction nerve lies inferolateral to them. This is the abduction nerve. Then come to the intraorbital part of this nerve. In the orbit, the smaller superior division ascend on the lateral side of the optic nerve and supplied the superior rectus and the levator palpebrae superioris. The larger inferior division divided into three branches. The larger inferior division divided into three branches. Nerve to medial rectus passes inferior to the optic nerve. Nerve to inferior rectus passes downward and enters the muscle on its upper aspect, and nerve to inferior oblique, longest of the three branches, passes in between the inferior rectus and the lateral rectus and supplies the inferior oblique from this posterior border. It gives off the motor route to the ciliary ganglion. In case of inside the orbit, all the nerves enter the muscle through their ocular surface except the superior oblique. In case the superior oblique, the nerve enters through the orbital surface, and the inferior oblique, the nerve enters through its posterior border. And the superior oblique is supplied by the cranial nerve 4, and this inferior oblique, it is supplied by this oculomotor nerve, and oculomotor supply this inferior oblique through its posterior border. Okay. These are the branches. There are the superior branch and the inferior branch. This is the oculomotor nerve. Inside this orbit, it is the superior branch and the inferior branch. The inferior branch is the larger, and the superior branch supplied the levator palpebrae superioris and the superior rectus majus. And this inferior branch, it supplies this medial rectus, the inferior oblique, and the inferior rectus. Okay. And it also provide one branches to the ciliary ganglion, and from the ciliary ganglion, the nerve goes to this ciliary muscle and the sphincter papillae by the connection to the ciliary ganglion. These are the ciliary ganglion. This oculomotor nerve. Oculomotor nerve is supplies this muscles of this extraocular part. This is the superior oblique. Superior oblique not supplied by this oculomotor. The levator palpebrae superioris, superior rectus, inferior oblique, and this from through the inferior division, the supply goes to the ciliary ganglion, and from the ciliary ganglion, the short and the long ciliary nerve is supply these muscles of this iris. Okay, and this supply done by this coming from this Edinger-Westphal nucleus. The anatomical basis of clinical features of third nerve palsy. A complete and a total third nerve palsy is of common occurrence. Maybe it is congenital or acquired. Clinical features of complete third nerve palsy include, you see the picture. In case of left oculomotor palsy, there is a complete left ptosis due to levator palpebrae superioris palsy. After manual elevation of the upper left eyelid, we can observe left exotropia and hypotropia and mid-dilated pupil. Okay, down and outward of this eyeball. The eyeball goes downward and outward. Okay. Then in case of right oculomotor palsy, you may find these things. The right nerve palsy producing a downward and outward gaze and dilated pupil in the right eye. The right eyelid is elevated by finger to overcome the right ptosis. So what happens? In case of oculomotor palsy, there is paralysis of the levator palpebrae superioris muscle, and the deviation out or deviation of the eyeball, out, down, and intorted unopposed action of the lateral rectus and the superior oblique. And the ocular movement, the adduction is lost, elevation, adduction, elevation, depression, extorsion, these are all lost due to paralysis of this medial rectus, superior rectus, inferior oblique, inferior rectus, and this inferior oblique. The pupil is fixed and dilated due to paralysis of the sphincter pupillae muscle. Accommodation is completely lost due to paralysis of the ciliary muscle, because this ciliary muscle and the pupillary muscle is supplied by this ciliary ganglion, and the part is coming through the inferior division of the oculomotor nerve, and the nucleus is situated in the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. There may be crossed diplopia, paralytic divergence squint known as, and the head posture. If the pupillary area is uncovered, head takes a posture consistent with the direction of action of the paralyzed muscle. Head is turned on the opposite side, tilted downward, the same side, and chin is slightly raised. Okay, and this is all for this. So thank you very much.